We've all felt it, right? That heavy, draining weight of stress. But what if stress isn't just a feeling in your head? What if it's a physical force that causes real fatigue, real weakness, and even pain? So the big question is, can we actually calm our bodies down at a cellular level? Today, we're diving into a fascinating scientific study that explores a potential solution using tiny, targeted electrical currents. Let's get into it. And just to show you how big of a deal this is, during the recent global pandemic, a full 34% of people reported symptoms of anxiety. You see, emotional distress is a massive, widespread challenge, and it takes a very real physical toll on us. And that leads us to a really important concept. They're called somatic symptoms. And let me be clear, this is not all in your head. These are real physical feelings that happen when your body is responding to chronic stress. It's kind of like the check engine light for your emotional well-being, and researchers are on the hunt for ways to figure out what's going on under the hood. So here's our roadmap. We'll start with the hidden toll of stress, then jump into a groundbreaking clinical trial. We'll explore how this therapy actually works, decode the really promising results, and finally, ask if this could be a new tool for our wellness toolkit. All right, first up, how do our emotions actually show up as physical pain and exhaustion? Well, when you're under stress for a long time, your body just never gets a break. It's basically stuck in a permanent state of high alert. And what's actually happening inside our bodies is pretty intense. The body's alert systems, the fight or flight response, goes into overdrive. It starts flooding your system with stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. And when that on switch is flipped for too long, it just wears the body down, making all those physical symptoms even worse. So if that's the problem, what's the solution? Well, this is where the science gets really interesting. Let's take a look at the clinical trial this whole explainer is about, which was set up to really put a potential solution to the test. And you've got to appreciate how carefully they designed this study. First, they recruited adults who were dealing with serious stress. Then they randomly split them into different groups to make sure it was fair. Everybody got a full 12 sessions of treatment, and they measured everything at the beginning, the middle, and the end. It's a really solid setup. Now here's where it gets really clever. They had 4 different groups. One group got the microcurrent therapy, called FSM, the whole time. The second group got FSM at first, but then switched to just relaxation. A third group only did relaxation. And that fourth group, they got a placebo, basically a fake FSM treatment before switching to relaxation. That placebo group is so important because it helps prove the effects they saw were the real deal. And this just shows you how rigorous they were. They started out by assessing 122 people and carefully narrowed it down to the 58 who were the perfect fit for the study. Doing this makes sure the data you get at the end is as clean and reliable as it can possibly be. Okay, so we've been talking about this FSM therapy. What is it exactly? How in the world can tiny electrical currents rebalance a body that's totally stressed out? So FSM stands for Frequency-Specific Microcurrent. Basically, it's a therapy that sends these super low-level electrical currents into the body. The whole idea is based on something called biological resonance, the theory that different tissues in your body respond to very specific frequencies of electricity. Here's a really great way to picture it. Imagine your stressed out cells are like a radio that's just playing a ton of static. You can't hear the music. FSM is supposed to be like carefully turning the dial, tuning each cell back to its clear, calm, natural frequency. It's all about restoring that signal. And on a biological level, what's it trying to do? Well, the idea is to reduce inflammation, change how your cells talk to each other, and help your tissues repair themselves. And if it can do all that, the result should be real, tangible relief from things like pain and fatigue. Okay, so the theory sounds pretty cool, right? But the real question is, did it actually work? This is the exciting part. Let's dig into what the researchers actually found. The first major check-in was at the halfway point, after everyone had completed just 6 sessions. So, what did that early data show? And right away, they saw something huge. The groups that got the FSM therapy reported a big drop in their physical symptoms. But get this, the group that only did relaxation therapy actually reported a slight increase in their physical symptoms at that point. That's a pretty big clue that FSM might be working faster on the body. And you can see this so clearly in the study's own data. See those 2 lines for the FSM groups? Look at that steep downward curve by the midpoint. They are getting relief, and it looks like they're getting it a lot faster than the other groups. And it wasn't just about the physical stuff. After those first 6 sessions, the FSM group also reported way fewer negative emotions compared to the group that was only doing relaxation. This suggests it was having an impact on both their physical and their emotional state. Okay, so FSM seemed to get a head start. But what happened at the finish line? After the full 12 sessions were done, did things start to even out? And here's the final scoop. By the end of the entire trial, pretty much all of the groups that got a real therapy showed major improvements across the board, from physical symptoms and stress levels to their overall satisfaction with life and even feelings of serenity. This shows that both approaches, FSM and relaxation, are effective tools. So let's put all the pieces together. What's the big takeaway from this really carefully designed experiment? Well, let's hear it straight from the researchers themselves. They concluded that FSM may be a promising treatment for addressing both the physical complaints and the negative emotions that come with chronic stress. But if you remember just one thing, let it be this. While both therapies worked in the end, FSM seemed to get people feeling better faster, especially when it came to those physical symptoms and their negative mood. And for anyone who's suffering from that heavy burden of stress, you know that faster relief can make all the difference in the world. Which leaves us with a pretty mind-blowing final thought. We always talk about the mind and body as if they are separate, but this study hints they're deeply connected through our body's own electrical system. It really makes you wonder, could learning to tune our own biological frequencies be the next great frontier in how we manage stress and find our well-being?